So this is you. In your mind, you want to constantly do a lot of things. You want to try that new instrument, and you want to also learn to draw and learn to write, and you want to also start reading more. You want to become better at your sport, and you want to study more because you want to excel at your own career. You've got all those projects in mind, and you've got all those things that you want to do, and somehow you can get to begin with any of them, and you can see results. And when you begin with any of them, you end up quitting after a week or two. If this is your case, if this is at least similar to your case, then this video is for you. I will try to show you simple steps, a simple strategy that worked for me, that worked for a lot of people I know, to develop multiple interests at the same time. By the time you finish this video, you should try to adapt and apply this whole strategy that I will give you into your own life. It's not about working hard, it's about working smart and actually loving and being passionate about what you are doing. So, let's begin. But first, I must congratulate you, because you are not settling for the comfortable one career path, you are not going for the traditional, you're actually trying the new, you're actually going for something different. You want to defy the modern system that tells us that we have to focus on only one thing and that society needs only specialized people, and you are going for something different. You want to try all that life has to offer. You are trying something new. You want to experience all those little things that interest you, that define you, because you are an artist, but you are also scientific, and you also like music, and you also like movies, and you also like languages. You have many interests and you want to try them all. So yes, it is possible. It is actually very, very possible. The best part is that it is possible in a relatively short time. So yes, you can manage multiple interests all together, you can do them all at the same time, you can develop them progressively and see results in a relatively short time. I have been troubled since I was 15 with those same questions. What should I do next? Am I doing enough? Why am I not trying something different? Where should I begin? And I'm sure that a lot of you are thinking about that now, because you are constantly worried. Why I'm not doing something new? Why I'm not doing that thing that I always wanted to try? Maybe you have heard about this phrase that is very commonly heard nowadays, that says jack of all trades, master of none, that calls you a jack of all trades, but you are a master of none, and that has a negative connotation because people often say that, meaning that you can't finish any of the things you like to try, and therefore you are always constantly trying new things and never finishing them all. You are not consistent, you are not disciplined, and that's why you are a jack of all trades, a master of none. The original phrase that comes from medieval times says that you can be a jack of all trades, master of none, but sometimes better than the master of one. Society nowadays tells us constantly, and the whole media tells us that we have to be very good at one thing, that we have to master one thing, that we have to find a specific niche, and we have to develop our skills for a certain goal. And for me, it's a clear mistake, because life has a lot more to offer than simply going down one career path, just being doomed to doing one thing our whole life, to be limited, to be constrained into one little thing that we have to focus and develop in order to be useful to society. So you can be a jack of all trades, a master of none, but sometimes you will also be better than the master of one. Therefore, in this video, I will try to give you a series of simple steps that you can follow in order to understand how to become a polymath, how to follow this idea of developing the capacity of organizing your life in order to develop multiple interests at the same time. first step that we will talk about is the mental foundation. So to speak, the mentality needed to begin with all this thing of polymathy and developing multiple skills at the same time. Personally, since I was 15, I always wanted to try different things. I never knew what my purpose in life was, and I picked up an interest in music and began to play the piano. And I found that I spent more time playing the piano than actually writing, and I never couldn't finish a book, and I never couldn't finish writing. And with that, a lot of new interests came into hand. I liked reading, but I also became to like sports. And I also began to go to the gym, and I also began to study my own career. And all those things piled up together ended up making me dizzy, and I was overwhelmed because I had so many things that I wanted to try, that I wanted to do, that I never found time to actually do any of them. And I never finished any of them, and I never found results in any of them. And that problem is more common than you think. And if you're suffering from it, I will say that the first thing you need to do is like the foundation. If you actually want to organize your time and to develop those skills with consistent results and that actually fulfill you, because all you want is to do something that has meaning to you and try things that make life worth living. And if you're looking for it, the first thing you need to do is to have a basic scheme of organization and time management. You have seen everywhere on the internet this idea of time blocking, where you just structure the whole of your day the night before with blocks of time, hours, minutes, anything you need in order to have all those different tasks in different moments of your day. It doesn't have to be very specific. You can just simply state your goals for the day and order all of those and organize them in order of importance. So you do first the hardest one, the ones that are the most important and most challenging, and you then follow with the lesser ones. For me, something that personally helped me in order to be more proactive and more productive with working and trying to develop multiple skills at the same time was trying different spaces. By being in different places, you challenge your mind because your mind isn't used to that space. And in order to do so, it has to be more active, it has to be more aware. And that way you can develop a lot more and actually make a better use of time. It's not enough to just block your time and decide all the things you're going to do, but you also have to be proactive and actually do them. Well, you have to take advantage of from the variety of disciplines that you are trying to learn. Personally, for example, I found out when I catch an interest in cooking, for example, and when I began cooking, I found out that being in the kitchen actually made me much more relaxed and less stressed, and that cooking was a sort of escape. And when I came back to work and study my career in my bedroom, I found out that I was much more relaxed and I was much more focused in the task. So you have to take advantage of the different spaces, of the time blocking, and also of the variety of disciplines you are trying to learn. That way you will avoid getting burnt out and getting overwhelmed. Following to the second step, once you have all that basic organization and you have your mind settled down, now you have to actually rearrange all those disciplines and all those skills you're looking forward to learning and have a scale of priority, what I call the pyramid of importance. You have to, what is actually the most useful and the most fulfilling of those activities and which one is the least. Maybe you will find out that some of those skills will end up being a little useless or you simply don't want them enough. You will try to stick by doing this little pyramid to the most important of those skills. For example, I have usually 3 different stages of the pyramid, being the first one, the essential activities or the essential disciplines, where I put my own career, where I put my own health, where I put reading for my soul and my mind, because they are the most essential skills that I want to learn and the ones that I put the most time into. I spend the most of my time focusing and actually working, being proactive in those skills. Then, in the second stage, I put the additional disciplines that I am interested in, but not as interested as in the first ones. What this means usually is that these interests are sort of related to the essential ones or are somewhat like accessory disciplines that I work upon because I play the piano regularly, I write regularly, but I do not spend that much time on them as I spend on studying, reading, working out, or working on YouTube, for example. So the best thing you can do in order to prioritize and build this pyramid of importance of skills is to actually relate the first ones with the second ones. What that will make is that if you, for example, spend most of your time working on your career, for example, you're studying history, and an accessory or a second stage discipline is reading, you can read history books, and if you actually find them interesting, so that will be very helpful. They are related. You are linking your skills, you are linking the disciplines, and that will also make you much more organized because there will be a connection, there will be a flow between those disciplines, and that's very useful. And you can also have this third stage in the pyramid, which I call the future interests, where you understand that you don't have enough time for them and they are not very important right now, but you have enough interest in them to plan to develop them in the future. So you don't develop them now because you don't have time, but you keep them there, so when you actually finish or find results and you establish a good strategy for your second or first stage disciplines, you can include one of the third stage disciplines into all this pyramid, all those things that you are trying to do in your daily routine. So the key of this second step is to actually build a whole pyramid of importance to prioritize certain skills, and you also have to relate and link your skills in order to have the most out of them. By following the first and second step, you already have the right mindset and your priorities set to begin to work and to develop all those disciplines at the same time. But the third step is very important, and if you actually want to be constant with it in the long term. This third step is very important if you want to actually see results in all those things that you are trying to develop. Because it is no use to actually build a whole system of organization and mentality and to establish your priorities in that pyramid of interest if you are not actually becoming proactive and you actually do all those things the way you planned. So the third step is becoming proactive, is thinking less, stop worrying constantly about the possible outcome or the result that this will get, because that is what stops most people from actually seeing results and from actually enjoying the process of working on all those things at the same time. You should stop worrying on the results. You should stop worrying on how the outcome will be, and you have to focus on this idea of taking action, to actually begin, just begin. And if you begin, I can assure you that by starting, you will make much more progress than just thinking and planning and doing all that I told you before. I can assure you from my own experience that the best things that you will find is by taking a leap of faith, trying these new things that you always wanted to try, and you will find that from the unexpected, from there you will find the best things and the best outcomes from actually trying and actually doing and actually going all in into all those new experiences and all those new disciplines. So if you really are looking forward to learning a new instrument or learning a new language, you have to go there and you have to try it. You have to actually begin with it, and you have to become proactive and take action. By doing so, you are selling yourself again in an uncomfortable position, and that makes your brain work and makes you more proactive and makes you more aware that what you are doing is making you better. And it's actually making you experience new things. And that's what we want. This whole idea of focusing on the process, not on the results you get, will actually get you better results than focusing on the results. I can assure you 100% that trying and actually doing something is much better than the regret of not trying it for the first time. Life is short and we really don't have that much time. So Make good use of your time, experience things, because that will make your life worth living. And by doing them all at the same time, you will also learn all these things that I'm telling you. You will learn to organize your time, and you will learn to actually make good use of your life, and you will experience a lot of things. So there is this Japanese philosophy related to this idea of the ikigai, that is the kaizen. The kaizen means basically to get 1% better every day, just 1%. Amongst all those interests that you choose, decide to become better on at least one of them. And by doing so, I can assure you that by the end of the month, you will be 30% better on those disciplines, and by the end of the year, you will be 365% better. This idea of the stacking your progress, stacking all that you are learning and constantly putting it out. And let me tell you that it's okay to skip it from a few days. You can do everything every day. But the main idea is that you organize your week or your month in order to actually at least get 1% better in one of those things every day. This idea of the polymath, this idea of a person who is capable of doing all those things at the same time, is a concept that we all should be looking forward to and that we all should be trying to become, because it's this idea of going against a society, is going against a world, a narrative that tells us that we have to be only made for one specific thing and to be useful for one and just only one discipline and niche, and we have to stick to that. We are more than just one job, we are more than just one career, and life has a lot more to offer. So if you actually want to experience life at its fullest, and if you actually want to see all that you can experience and all that you can soak in life, and you want to feel all those things, I believe that with this little and simple strategy you can develop all that, and it's very easy, and you can see results in a relative short term, because that's what life is about. It's about doing all those things we like, enjoying all those things we like in the present moment without worrying of a result, of an economic outcome, and to actually develop them all consistently to become 1% better every day. That's my idea, and that's what a polymath has to do. A person who can develop multiple skills at the same time is a person who experiences life at its fullest. Modern polymaths, modern people who can be very versatile, who can be jack of all trades, who can be master of none, but who can be better than the master of one. Thank you for passing by. I hope these 3 steps were useful, and begin to actually implement and adapt them into your own life, and I promise you, you will see some results. Stick to it and become better every day. Thank you all for listening, and have a good day, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.